Oh, hey there. Welcome back to Music Monday with I, your host Nicholas Thompson, where you can find his resident taste of recommendations for your top recommended needs. I will be reviewing and talking about music that I have listened to from the previous weeks. I'll be discussing classic rapping hits from such wa- rappers like Ice-T. I'll be talking about modern artists that are breaking the boundaries of what is that is possible in the music industry, such as Foo Fighters, and I'll be talking about icons of the music industry, such as Tina Turner. I just want to say that I would like to apologise. There might be some interruptions and disturbances throughout the episode, since where I'm recording at the moment, there's uh, fireworks display occurring. So I do apologize if that does happen. So let's go on and talk about our first recommendation, uh, called Angel Face by Stephen Sanchez. And I've got to say, this has been quite anticipated. It's his first full length studio album, and I've got to say that the waiting was worth the while. This is a great album. It is takes such modern techniques of the time and takes us back to a long forgotten time of the 50s and 60s. Stephen Sanchez has became a pop icon. An icon in the industry with his number one hit "Until I Find You," which everyone's loved since it brings us joy and happiness to your heart. And I've loved this album. Really enjoyed it. And I've got to say that some albums take you to a story that take you somewhere. That takes you to a story that takes you on to a adventure. I've got to say this album does exactly that. Sanchez has extended and talked about that this album is really about a fictionalized version of himself, about an artist called Sanchez who falls in love with this woman who is an ex-girlfriend of a mob boss, and he finds out about this relationship, but he goes out and demands and tries to kill him. And this, throughout each song in the track, which I think is about 13 songs, we follow the story of Sanchez and his lover trying to escape the the grip of death from this dangerous and violent gangster. I've got to say that this is exactly listening to a 60s album with some of the tunes, the guitar playing, and how it has this vibe with it. And some of the songs I just absolutely adore. Some of them are Something About Her, Everglane, I think it's the name of the girl, the fictionalized character. Uh, what else? Only Girl, Be More, and High. Again, this is just terrific. It's been highly anticipated, just such a joy. And it's weird, the album that came out today can take us, younger audience members or members of a era that we never lived in. It takes us back to what it would be like to live in that era of time. So yeah, if you want to look for something that is old fashioned but has some modern twist, this is exactly for you. So yeah. Moving on to our next recommendation. I do apologise. I will not be able to say it's hell with it. F Star Fucker by Slayyyter. Again, this has been how can I say, this is the artist's second studio album, and I've got to say this is a quite an adult theme album. It goes through such things as the love and the fancy of the Hollywood lifestyle and the club lifestyle and about sex and etc. And I think this, I've got to say that, I have to say it, the story I did not like. That's not often said from me, but I just did not like the story of this album. But I have to say the tunes and the beats and the remixing that is done I quite enjoyed. But I did not say that there weren't some songs that I did not enjoy. Some of the songs that I did like is "I Love Hollywood," "Dynamic," "My Body," and I think one of the songs "Rhinestone Heart." I think so. Yeah, uh, it's very The artist has also stated that this album is really. She said that she's followed a breakup, and her ex uh, e- uh, exposed her to such music, different music and movies that she did not experienced before, and she basically said that this album is basically Basic Instinct but in music, with the themes and the elements that goes into, with a genre of hype electrical pop beats, and also has a luxury 80s vibes with how uh, aesthetically it sounds. So uh, yeah, like I said, I didn't like the story, but I did like the remix. I did like the the making of it, the music, the not the music, the instruments, the remix and the choreographed, uh, etc. Uh, let's move on to the next recommendation. Something to Give Each Other by Troye Sivan. This is again been another. I should mention halfway through this. All these albums have been highly anticipated, been long halts for the fans of these artists. So Something to Give Each Other by Troye Sivan. Uh, I've got this is the artist's third studio album, and this album. Uh, Let me just hold on a minute. Let me take a drink. uh, Again, what I was saying. This is his first studio album. It it's a lot of things. It's He says that it's a kiss to the dance music era. This is a great dance club music, etc. It's a mix of multiple genres. The themes that it explores is heartbreak, freedom, and friendship and camaraderie. You know, working together, a community. He says what he said is he says this is it's like going out on a date, and then that date turns into a weekend, and then that weekend turns into a week, a summer party week that never ends. I've got to say, I'm listening to it. It did give off that vibe, and I've got to say, it was just lovely to listen to. It was very lovely. It was nice, fun to listen to with party memorable tunes, very upbeat and vibrant. Also explores body confidence and how you should be confident in your own skin and not let the outside world uh, tell you how you should be and how you should act. And some of the songs that I did like about this album are some of the songs, yes, something like one song that I've got to say, the teaser for this album I did not like. Worse, it was a bit, the beats were not really hitting me in the right places. I didn't really like the beats and the story, but after listening to it a few times, I really got into the rhythm and enjoying it, and I now really they like listening to it once every while. But the other songs that I did love is one of your sorry, one of you girls, in my room, and what else? Honey, yes. Um, I just really enjoyed it, and I think it's just to express that in this day and age, there's this sense of freedom and camaraderie, of working together and having friendships and having fun and be able to express yourself however you want. And this album is a great example of that. That you should not let anybody judge you, and you shouldn't let how society is built. You shouldn't follow society's way. You should be a rebel, like I will always say. Just lovely to listen to. Just yeah, it was just brilliant, and I just loved that. It was just so confident and warm. It felt welcome. It felt like going somewhere and you felt welcomed, and like there's no judgment. So yeah, that's what this album felt like. So yeah, let's move on to our next recommendation. Where was it? I'm using my notes, so I apologize if Fanfare by oh shit, sorry, by Dor what's the name? Extra. Sorry, I'm sorry about that. I've completely forgot the artist's name. I'm so sorry. Uh, Dorian Electra. Yeah, that's correct. This is her third album, and this album, how I could say this is it's a dark fantasy album. It reminds me of Weed Killer from Ithaca. Yeah, reminded me of that. Took uh, some dark tones and like it's great. It's a great album. It's uh, quite memorable, and I have to say it's very. Also, the artist has stated that the album is to show how we, fans of music or fans, have now become a sort of a legend for individuals. You see, like we follow like our favorite artists, our favorite actors all around, like they're our god or whatever. And I have to say, it is pretty correct with how the tones we is, and I yeah Aye, so yeah, I have to say, I think she did connect with that very, very greatly. So yeah, it has this theme, it has multiple themes in it, but for me, it's like a mythic, what is it, mythical god ideas, and like it felt powerful, and just felt what I could say. I really put it down in words. It was like there's this old series called Narnia. It's like Games of Thrones but much older. It's like Narnia if it was more adult themed and more sexual. So yeah. Uh, what else was I saying about it? Also, it just shows how fans react with pop culture, and like how we we are just so obsessed with certain individuals and how they live their styles. So yeah, some of the songs that I have to say that I really enjoyed is Puppet, uh, Lifetime, and Sonori, and I can't say that. I'm sorry. Uh, and Touch Grass. Yes. I'm sorry about all this. How this has been laid out. It's just I'm so sorry. It's just yeah. Anyway, that's I have to say this. It's just dark fantasy. Really, it's just a diff. It's like imagine it takes you onto a fantasy tale of what the artist tries to take you on, and it's just a dark adventure into a fantasy world that the artist creates for us to follow their certain characters and their stories. So yeah, uh, yeah, that's that. So let's move on to the next recommendation. Love Lines by LP. You might not know the artist LP, but he was in a previous, he was in a very popular band in the mid 2000s, and then he started his solo career. This is the artist's seventh studio album, and I have to say this album's a mix of different. It's when you first song Golden, it's a mix of Spanish country folk music. It explores themes of love, family, and how relationships mold you into the person that you are, and over time, you when you begin in life, it's just about how you evolve as a person and how the people around you affect you in your growingness of becoming a better person. And it's about love and family and relationships, and like how different experiences with your loved ones change you and makes you into perhaps a better or worse person depending on the situation. Um, some of the some of the themes that I think I really enjoyed, some of the themes that I think this album goes into, is it feels like a 70s ish, 70s type music, 70s. It just felt like something from the 70s. That's what I mean, and it was sweet to listen to. It was a sweet listening experience. That's what I meant, and I just think, yeah, I think that is doing something unique, and it's a mix of Spanish folk country music and taking all those genres and putting them together. So yeah, if you like the Spanish like what's those bands with the trumpets, those bands, you'll like this. So some of the songs is Golden, Wild, Dayglow, uh, Dayglow, Long Goodbye, and Love Lines, of course. So yeah, those tunes were brilliant. They explored the different experiences of love. So yeah, yeah. So that's that. I apologize for how this episode's been laid out. It's just I'm just going through it. I'm just thought, you know what? Hell with it. I thought, hell with it. I thought, I don't like. I understand that you like to get insight of how I go through and how I process things, and I thought that instead of me just skipping bit to bit to each episode, how I thought, hell wait, let me do it differently, and like give you some realness of what I'm actually like when I'm going through this. So yeah, so the next recommendation is Scarlet by Doja Cat. Why this is the artist's fourth album, and I've got to say this felt like a stepping stone into the artist he's coming into being one of the biggest names in rapping culture. It also explores the themes of girl power and like how we how we view people certainly have changed differently, and like how like you can just be however you want. Like men and women don't have to be in the certain categories. Like men have to be very manly and masculine, and women have to be feminine. And this album explores like how women can be masculine and how they can be feminine and have high. So yeah, and it just explores that themes. And it also Doja Cat took some uh influence from Greek mythology and also the animals from the like the cats with the heads. I'm sure I'm not good with like Greek mythology. The cats with the heads and like how like, Roman times and like Greek like hundreds of millions of years ago there was mutated animals and like how they were considered gods to us mere mortals and like how we bow down to them, and like she took some influence from them. So yeah, um it's a great rapping album, and it's a great example of female rapping, and I really enjoyed the remixing and the some of the tunes. My favorite two tunes that I think stand out to me is "Paint the Town Red" that everyone knows, and "Demons," which has gained popularity with social media. Also, the themes that this explores is social media and how like instant verification has come around. Like, uh, you could do anything. Like, you can't do anything, but if you do a certain thing in this world now and you record it, you get instant famous, and like it's instantaneous famousness now. Like years and years ago, I say years, some time ago, you need to work and put effort into building an audience and a fandom, and I think now anybody can become famous. It's just a matter of what you want to be famous for. For example, myself, I want to do music reviews and talk about music because that's what I'm passionate about and that's what I know. I know a good tune, and I think it's important for my experience and my review and my opinion to get out there and give you the top recommendations instead of you being misleaded such with all the top selling albums. Because I should give you a little insight. Because something's number one doesn't make it that good. You see, it's just the amount of sales. You see, you could sell 1 million records, but yeah, doesn't make an album gold. So yeah, that's just a little insight. It's just one of those. I think it's gonna be one of the best. I think it's gonna be nominated for one of the best albums of the year. So yeah, there's that. So let's move on to the next recommendation, and this is the final recommendation. Duel by The Rose, the K-pop band. I've got to say, I've really got into K-pop in the last 1 and 2.5 years. Since I am again outstanding and astonished by how instant, how quick they produce their albums, and like you'll be listening to let's say you listen to the Stray Kids and you finish listening to the album like at the end of the week, and then next week they've got something new to release. And I've just found out recently that they need to release this music now an instant because, from what I understand, in Korea, I believe when you're like sometime in your 20s or 30s, you have to take mandatory military training, and I think that's why they're getting music out quickly. Is that they need to release all that. All the songs, all the stories that they want to tell before they need to do the military training, and I think a lot of the K-pop bands have actually went into the mandatory training. I think that some of BTS is in there at 17, and I think Stray Kids have got a few years before they need to do it. But I think, I've liked the Woes. I really enjoyed their they're one of the big K-pop bands that are gaining fame. And also, what I loved about this album, this is a second studio album. This is one of the rare K-pop albums that are in. I've reviewed when I did Music Monday on my socials. I reviewed K-pop bands, and the only difficulty I have to say is K-pop albums are harder than reviewing other albums. And what I mean by that is because they're so quick and fast paced. The story gets really muddled up, and for us, are we Western European or Western culture? We don't really understand what the stories are. But I think K-pop. Let me think. It's been 2023. I'm saying last 7 years. I think in the last since K-pop started coming around, we just started enjoying the tunes and the remix and the rapping and like the choreograph. What these bands do are terrific and outstanding compared to Western culture bands, and they put their bodies to the limit to express their albums with choreographed dance movements and etc. But I think in the last few years with K-pop keep getting more success, they're starting to understand that they have a fan base in Western culture, and they're starting to release albums dedicated just to Western culture. For example, this has most of the songs I think are in English. So if you want to get into K-pop, this is a great album for you since you get understanding of what the stories are about. It's mostly about love and friendship and friendship and love, and I really highly recommend this. If you want to get into K-pop, this is it. Some of the great songs that I suggest is You're Beautiful, Back to Me, Lifeline, and I think that says Dusk, yes, and Alive. And and yeah, I am glad that certain K-pop bands are starting to release some of the music into translating the lyrics and their way of their music into English, which I'm a bit astounded that they're doing this, because it is a fact that eventually, one way or another, I've been told that Mandarin and English and what's the other one? Mandarin and English are the two main. I think Mandarin's the like the number one language spoken around the world. So with English with artists translating their music to English, I think it is a bit of a good hang. So yeah, what was I about to say? So yeah, I'm glad that they're taking new notes and they're translating some of their music into English, so they because so they can get a wider audience and reach more people. Because I think K-pop in Britain here specifically, and specifically in Scotland even, it's not gaining as popularity. It's slow, but listen, like the British invasion in America didn't took off instantly, so I don't see this taking off. But over time, I think K-pop will become one of the biggest genres ever. One of the biggest. I'm going to say it's going to be close to rock and roll. So yeah, I think K-pop music. Well, K-pop music will become one of the biggest genres. So yeah, that's it for the recommendations of the week. Let's talk about the album cover of the week. If you don't know what this is, like some notes of the end of the episode, where I select the best album cover of the from what I've listened to. So yeah, There's multiple different album covers that I highly suggest that I really enjoyed. There's The Jewel by The Rose, Angel Face is good, A Star Effer is good. Um, to be honest, the one for me I have to say is Angel Face, because Sanchez, he took the effort to make that the album cover look like from the 60s, from the 1960s. So I think that just adds a little touch of effort to the album. So because it just shows, it just is in all 60s, right? And how it's framed is in like the 60s style. So yeah, I think that's terrific. And the song of the week is the song of the week. What would it be? The song of the week is Whiter Shades of Pale by the, what's the name of the artist? My apologies. That's the song of the week for me. So yeah, let's just lay back and talk about what I've been listening to over the weeks, just chilling out. What I've got to say, there's a lot of songs that I've just been. It's the end of the week. When this is, yes. If you're at the end of the week, here's some of the songs that I actually was listening to, and what I would pinpoint and tell you what the story is, and that is, "This Is My Life" by Engelbert Humperdinck. That's a great tune, just to sit and just chill out to. Django. See if you like a brutal exercise routine. That's a great tune. Like if you like running or walking in the rain and exercising, that's great, since it just tells of the suffering pain that Django goes through in the film, and they've just put it into the song. So yeah, the main theme of Django's. That's what I meant. White Rabbit is just again relaxing tune. After Loving You is a beautiful love story about a man loves his lover so much that he writes a song about her the next day. Uh, and Spanish Eyes from Al Moper. Not Engelbert's version. Engelbert's version is good, but I think Al Moper does it a bit better, since it's just his bellowing voice, I think, just adds to the extent of the amazingness of the song. So yeah, I've noticed that I haven't talked about certain albums. I will try to get to the ends that everyone wants to know about. Also, I want to talk about, just before I leave, I have listened to Now and Then by the Beatles, and I've got to say I'm eye opened by how amazing that song is, since it is unbelievable that I should mention that old artists seem to have this fatigue that they've lost their thing, they've lost their starlight power, and I've got to say that's a bit of a hoax, so it's fake. I think artists, yes, over time they desaturate in quality. They have a golden era, the golden goose era of their music, but they still release great stuff over time. I'm going to try to talk about the Rolling Stones album next week, and there's few other albums that everyone wants to talk about. So yeah, so that's it for this week. Hope you liked how I've laid this out. I thought it'd be more grounded to earth and gives you an insight of how I do this. And like, of course, I stumped and muggled up throughout the episode, but that's what makes me human, and I think that's what yous like. So yeah, please remember to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. And I should let you know that the next 4 weeks will be Pop and Music Monday, but after November, and this is November. After December, it'll be a bit of a twist. We'll be doing festive. It'll be a bit more festive. We'll talk about, of course, Christmas is around the corner. Particularly in Britain, right now, everyone's got the already planned Christmas decorations, and they're selling Christmas stuff all around the shops. So yeah, that just shows you. So it'll be this week. Next 3 weeks, I think we'll be back just normal Music Monday, but after December it'll be a bit more festive. And if you don't like that, if you've got any comments about music or anything, please comment at on YouTube or wherever you listen to this. And again, like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And thank you for listening. See you next week.